Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Copy our chants. So we did retaliate, and we did post against them, and we have beat them over 10 times this season. Our homecoming meet went amazing. We had a lot of participation. Our rally went amazing. A lot of activities, a lot of skits for our floats. We also had 386 students show up to our dance. Our girls tennis is 6-3 in the league, and our 15-4 overall, and are currently in second place in our league. 5 football team won their first FVL game versus Roseville, 18-6 on road. And the boys finished first, and girls were close to second in cross country. And our school is going to have a career expo, and the YCPD, CHP, YC Fire Department, Bi-County Ambulance, colleges, health departments, the U.S. Navy Marine Corps are also coming to RV to share their careers. For our football game, our homecoming game was against Roseville. Our JV team did amazing. They beat Roseville 38-22. KCR3 came out to our game and recorded player opinions and coach opinions and watched how good our JV team was. And yeah, that's it. I mean, show up to the game this Friday. Thank you.
When is your career day?
The 25th, October.
Okay.
This past month has been very good for Yuba City High School. We've seen a lot of improvement. We had a bunch of events this month, and we had our second Senate meeting. It went really well. We went over finances and spirit days. And then we had our first Friday activity, which was soccer. It was good. It helps students earn class points. And then we had a girls match and a guys match. Both scores were 0-0. And then we had powder puff. Powder puff went well. The junior class was really strong, and they won. That was good. And then there was a karate tournament on Sunday. A lot of students from Yuba City High School competed. It was pretty good. And then it was at RV, but all the Yuba City High School AP students showed up. We had a pink October one on Saturday. That was also good. And then we have mandatory paperwork trainings for food fair. So all the clubs know what they're doing, and everything can run smoothly. Our food fair is October 25th this year. And then this week is our Mayor's Cup Spirit Week for the Mayor's Cup game on Friday, where we will be RV. And our rally is also on Friday, which the theme is like Astro World, to do with like a singer. And we have class wall competitions. The juniors are doing Coraline, so hope that goes well. And then this month, the Sikh Honor Society will be having a selfless seva, where they give back to the community and just distribute food to people who need it. And then we are also beginning our canned food drives this month, and then it will end like next month, I believe. We're gonna have Spooktober this month. It's like a mini harvest festival for high school. And our Blue Zones Club is promoting like healthy lifestyle, and we have a lot of activities at lunch, like rock painting, and yeah. And then our sports medicine class has been really good right now. A lot of hands-on training. We're learning how to do like CPR properly, and it's really good. And then we watch at the games on the sidelines. We help out, and when a player goes down, we always. And then we've been trying to look into like getting the chip readers so that students can pay with like Apple Pay and credit cards, because a lot of our fundraisers, like the students, they want to pay with Apple Pay, but we only accept cash, so we lose a lot of money like that. but that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report information developers team on detailed reports for fiscal year 23-24.
Yeah, so after the books are closed, this is an annual report that we do on our developer fees. So it's a disclosure and just states the revenue and expenses that are out of Fund 25, which is our developer where we collect and expend funds from developers. Any questions? Really, we had no real expenses out of there. $1 million in collections. For 2024.
Any questions? Perfect. PBIS awards presentation.
Thank you. Director Jennifer Keats is here to celebrate some of our schools who are being recognized for PBIS.
Absolutely. Welcome, board, aloha, Nipolo, and cabinet. I'm only here with good news, always here with good news. So I am here to celebrate the 5 school sites that applied for PBIS recognition with California. A reminder that PBIS is Positive Behavior Intervention Systems. And just a little bit of, we've been using PBIS in our district for several years now at all of our sites, under the concept that we establish routines, standards, and behavioral expectations, and we positively reinforce that with students. So rather than no, don't, stop, knock it off, where, hey, I like the way you're listening, Londa. I like the way you're showing me your attention. You know, I appreciate Harjo, the way you're leaning in. So rewarding, reinforcing those positive behaviors. So there is a rigorous process if you want to go through getting recognized. It belongs, or you have to do a pretty thorough self-reporting. You have to manage all your data. You need to do an external review. All of our sites probably could have been eligible to win some sort of recognition, gold, platinum. These 5 sites that I want to recognize tonight really own their pride and their school culture and what they've established at their school. It's not to say that every one of our schools, but all the tools, all the routines, all the behavioral expectations are there. When you go on our campuses and you see Pride this and Wolfpack that and River Valley's Pride, right? And YC's, what's yours? Gold. I was waiting. I was teeing it up for you. So let's recognize for gold recognition. Remember, I go bronze, silver. This is gold recognition. Yuba City High School. So I'll just show you, they have this nice plaque that they'll be putting up outside of their site in honor of their recognition. Congratulations.
It's very appropriate since our acronym is GOLD. We're doing organized leaders that are dedicated, so it's appropriate.
Perfect. Congratulations. Gold Implementation Award winner is Andros Carpers School. All of y'all come up here. Congratulations. Is this your first one? First one. First time and they're already gold. Impressive. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to be on the AK campus lately, but tons of positive energy, tons of promoting their PBIS and their school culture. You guys have done a great job.
Hey,
Jamie's been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Good job, Jamie.
You can hug on that before we take it up. Yeah, you can hug on that. You can hug on that. You're ready. Who's next? Oh, you. How about April Lane? There you go, ladies. Excellent work. Let me get out of your way while Laura takes a picture. Is this your second recognition? Last year was silver. This year is gold. Excellent. All except Bridge Street's gold recognition. Last year, they were silver as well. This year, they're gold. Principal McIntyre couldn't make it today in time, but I told her I would accept hers for her. Does anyone want to stand in and be Melissa?
Sure, hold on.
And the most exciting news I have for you is that bronze, silver, gold, 4 schools that are gold, and 1 school that has been working probably for the last 3 years or ever since Principal Baines took over at Tierra Buena to earn platinum. So congratulations to Tierra Buena that earned the very go. Oh,
Yeah, you guys. All these events and our teams. Yeah.
We can switch this one a little bit. I'll notify. Thank you. Congratulations.
They said they didn't want to talk, but I think you should at least just ask them what their PBIS motto is, because it's quite, your SOAR is quite well known.
Quite well known, safe, on task, accountable, respectful. But our mission statement is strive for excellence, soar to new heights, and we kind of just encompass both. So.
And kids really own that. You know, I hear them walking around campus and I hear adults saying to them, like, are you soaring right now? And it's just a little reminder of like, you check yourself.
Yes.
You know, not pointing out what they're doing wrong, just a little check yourself and get yourself back in Tierra Buena standards. So excellent job, ladies. Thank you. Thank you for your support in PBIS and helping our school culture. So I'm really proud of all those schools for the work they put into that and the students for making it look good. Thank you.
Definitely, well done.
Williams Act, quarterly report.
This is our quarterly report where we, for this quarter report that ends in September, for the Williams Balance for the uniform complaints to the board, we received no complaints for this quarter.
Awesome. Are there any comments from the public on items not on the agenda?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Did anyone have any questions about that? No? Perfect. Okay, no comments from items not on the agenda. Can I get a motion for consent agenda with the exception of C?
I make a motion we approve.
On a motion by member Ciciola, second by member Lamb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. C, question.
Yes, so I have several questions about this. I noticed page 1, location district office. There is a mileage reimbursement to NPS for Jessica Roberts in the amount of $22,500.
So that is a special education case that is a check on behalf of the parent who was likely transporting her child to the non-campus school.
We're transporting to Rockland every day. 200 days.
Okay. So that is at the rate of $100 a day? It's $50
Per month.
Rates.
It's a mileage thing.
Okay.
Is it the IRS mileage? Yeah, so
Okay.
the IRS rate times what I'm about.
All right, thank you for that. And the other one in that same category, my question was the Nancy Aghavan Consulting Inc. Year 2 ELD PD, and there's 2 of these, both around 13,000, so 26,000. What is that?
So we started working with Nancy Alcamon. So part of our ELD, we have integrated ELD, which is where you implement ELD strategies in all your classrooms, and we have designated, which is specific for our EL learners. So this is to do professional development for our teachers. We did it last year. This is year 2 on integrated and designated ELD. So we do it. We have passports, which you do after school. So we do passport trainings, and then we have our in our PE days.
And ELD is English as
Language development.
Oh, okay, okay. And then the Destiny renewal from Fullett School Solutions Incorporated for $32,000.
That's our library system where we keep track of our textbooks.
Okay.
So that's a yearly renewal we do.
And then under maintenance, and the second page, a whole bunch of BPOs for a Randy Hill Consulting Services is the, is kind of what's put in there. And then it's to Harrington Design Associates, Yuba-Sutter Building, Robert E. Thurbin Attorney, 4J. Seems very miscellaneous, and they're even dollar amounts, 10, 10, 40, 10, 5. So what is that about?
So this is in regards to a lawsuit, and we have consultants that have to testify. And those are estimates of the costs associated with that.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions. If nobody else has one, I make a motion to approve 13C.
I second the motion.
On a motion by member Cianciullo and second by member Roscoe. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. 14A, expulsion suspended contract, individual case.
I make a motion we further discuss in closed session.
I'll second that. On a motion by member Roscoe and second by member Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. B, Verdict even for the proposed revision of EP 514523.
So we are bringing forward, if you'll recall, this board policy has come forward previously. We are in the process of federal program monitoring, and the consultants from the Department of Education stated that we needed to add additional language to our current policy. So you'll know what's been added is language that the Department of Education is requiring as part of the federal program monitoring. I would make a request that we that we waive second reading first, and the reason why is that this information needs to be uploaded to the Department of Education prior to the visitation, which is scheduled for
November 4th.
So that's why the policy is coming forward
So moved.
for a second reading. No second reading.
I think that we waive second reading and approve now.
I think we have to do this separately. I'll second the motion to waive the second reading.
Okay, on a motion by member Reedy and a second by member Roscoe. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. That we've waived the second reading.
Thank you.
And then
I'll make a motion that we approve it. Is that correct now?
I have a question. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Or has the motion already been put forward?
the motion put forward, I mean, we can have a second and then we can still have a discussion before we, either way.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion's by member Pretty, the second is by member Ford, discussion.
So my question is, I feel like this is language that was initially this is about the restorative justice. And I think my question is with regards to if you are looking at the actual policy, it's on the last page. And it is the paragraph that says, when appropriate, based on the severity or pervasiveness of the bullying, the superintendent or designee shall notify the parents and guardians of victims and perpetrators and may contact law enforcement. So those are three separate things, right? Or are they not? Are they taken separately, or we'll do all three of these?
Well, the last thing is in May, so the may contact law enforcement, but it is included, it is three things there. So it's the pervasiveness of the bullying, then the notification of we will notify the parents or guardians of the victims and perpetrators, and we may contact law enforcement based on the severity of the behavior.
So I understand that. I understand that kind of qualification, that qualifier, right? Based on the pervasiveness, we are going to contact law enforcement. Like I completely understand that. What I don't understand is why the parents are included in that, and it's not just an automatic. If there is bullying, right, whether my son or daughter is the perpetrator or the victim, like I want to know about it, but I don't see.
The shall makes it a requirement, so the shall makes it that we have to contact.
But it's prefaced by when appropriate based on the severity, right? So now it sounds to me based on this language that an administrator at the school is making the decision, well, it wasn't that serious. Maybe I shouldn't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna pick on you. I'm gonna bully you for a second.
Do it.
you know, your earrings and your necklace don't match.
Well, you're right.
So you go to the teacher and you say, Shelley just bullied me. Is that something that really needs to be called home about?
Okay, well, now you bring up an even more interesting point, because I noticed in this policy, the definition of bullying isn't put forth. Like, I wouldn't consider that bullying, I would just consider that a fact. Okay, so is it based on the victim's, perception of it? Or who is the one who is, however, somebody else, Tino would be totally devastated if his earrings and necklace didn't match. And it would totally mess with him. Is it the receptor that chooses? But because there's I don't see any I didn't see any definition about this is what bullying is, right? I saw the protected classes, which jewelry is not part of that. Right. So my question is, who is the person who ultimately says, A, number one, that was bullying, and also identifies the intent, right? Because Shelley could be like, oh, I wasn't meaning to be mean. I noticed it and I thought I'd say something like your zipper's open, right? Like I just wanted you to know, right? But so that, who's the one that ultimately says it's bullying? And number two is what, I guess my question is still, and once it is, in that instance, like you were saying, devil's advocate, it's like you don't need to mention it to the parents. But once it's identified by whoever the identifier is of this was bullying and it was based on the protected class categories, then why don't we have an automatic parents get notified, the victim and the perpetrator? Why is it under when appropriate based on the severity or pervasiveness? Like as a parent, I want to know early and often if there's behavior that needs to be corrected, right?
So I think that the paragraph, and I think that, Kirsten, I hear what you're saying. It's the severity, the pervasiveness, and the authority lies within me, or if I assign a designee. So you'll see that the superintendent or designee, and you're right, generally a site administrator is the designee on my behalf to make the decision to contact a parent.
Yeah.
But I think it's the intent of this is so that I say I like your hair color one time.
Yeah. I'm with you. I agree. Totally.
That would likely. The standard of severity pervasiveness would not be defined as bullying. And would a administrator call a parent for that versus, right, probably not. If it were, I kept continuing to harass you about your hair color, it's now becoming more severe and more pervasive. Then there needs to be the adults in the families need to be notified. So I do understand what you're saying, I guess, what is it that you would suggest in terms of modification to the language?
So we do have admin regulations, board policy specific to bullying. And so I think we would use that admin regulation, their definition to define what bullying is. And then our site administrators would use that to come delineate to kind of evaluate whether the student's being bullied.
Well, see, now that makes sense to me. I don't see that. I see ed code annotated. Here we go. As specified in, but that's under unlawful discrimination could occur, right? That's where it's as specified in, but I don't see where it is annotated bullying as defined by board policy, which I imagine is, no?
It's 5131 out.
Okay, 5131. Okay, so I guess, that would be my improvement opportunity there, is so that people like me or whomever in the future go, okay, well, how is bullying defined at the YCOSD?
So,
and then the other would be if the bullying is in that policy where the discipline is more progressive or it's more spelled out. Just want to make sure that the language in here we make, or the federal monitoring program has made it important that we have a paragraph in there saying, okay, we'll do restorative justice and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, without really giving what curriculum, whatever. But I just, they have place within this discrimination where it's even mentioned that the parents will be notified. And that just seems imbalanced to me. But if it's put in the, but this is just relating, this isn't even relating to bullying. This is just supposed to be non-discrimination harassment, right? That's what this is, 5145.
Correct.
5131 is the bullying, but we put it in here because if the bullying is found to be discriminatory under the protected classes mentioned above, then it goes to a whole other level than just straight bullying, right?
Right, so this is specific to discrimination. So I guess is the recommendation when appropriate based on the severity of pervasiveness of the bullying as defined by AR 5131.2. That suffice.
BP or AR?
It's a AR.
That's a question mark, sorry.
I mean,
I think that would be better. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Jasmine?
that's all I was gonna ask, like, is that sufficient
Now,
for you?
typically they have a footnote though in our board policies in our where it'll reference that board policy and admin reg at the bottom. So that's one option. It's probably I'm gonna look at it, but if it's probably referenced, I'm guessing it's cross-referenced probably in the footnotes. So like when you see bullying, you can go down and see the definition.
So we've already waived the second reading and there's already a motion on the floor.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that the motion is to approve as is, but there's recommendations for adjustments. If Member Pretty wants to do it that way, because she made the motion, and I'm assuming that you can amend your motion to include that, but what is more aligned or consistent with the way that the rest of the board policies are? Is it that those ARs or whatever are delineated at the bottom, or is it that it's with the footnote?
Yeah, and it can be both. I mean, if it is clear, and it really is the intent is to make sure the policy is clear. So if it makes it clear as defined by AR 5131.2, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's certainly allowable to have there.
So we can, so I do amend my motion to include the inclusion of that, reference to back to what bullying, the definition of bullying is.
I'd second the substitute motion.
All right. On a motion by Member Bibby, second by Member Roscoe, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. First reading of proposed revision of BP 5.
Yes. So I am bringing forward the revisions to our current policy related to cell phones, but for defined mobile communication devices, because there are a lot of devices apparently you can talk through, chat through. You'll note that our policy actually is one, our current policy is one that many districts are actually adopting. I did work with our site administrators and made it clear in terms of what mobile devices are. The one change would be is that, and I'm gonna say TK, through 8th grade students would not be allowed to have their phones out during school day. However, high school students could have their phones out during breaks and lunches. The high school administrators thought that would be something appropriate for high school age students. The only time students would be able to have their cell phones out during class time is when the teacher gave permission to use so for academic reasons. So I've made some revisions. It's gone through the site administrators. I've looked at dozens of policies and taken parts of others' policies, but bring forward a revision to our current policy, making it a bit more restrictive. It already was restrictive, but then again, the differences on the K-8 campuses.
So they wouldn't have them at lunch?
They would not be allowed to have them. The only ones who would be able to have them out are high school students during those time frames.
Can I ask a nitty question? Okay, so this is a mobile device. This is a mobile device. They can make and receive phone calls and texts. So is this. So are we looking at curtailing all of these devices or only these?
That was defined as cell phones, smartphones, smartwatches, earbuds, or other like devices, and even district issue devices like campus. We understand those are, so we're defining mobile communication devices broader.
Right, so my question is, how do we keep middle school kids from wearing a smartwatch?
And I don't know that you're gonna prevent them, it's the use of them during the time frame, because I mean, we all have,
Right.
most people have smartwatches. But it would be the use of the communication to, so.
Well, the stumbling block with that is that that's not the way we're treating cell phones, right? Because the way this policy reads is that it's not to be out, right? But a smartwatch is out, so it's not under that same.
Right. So I think
That was my
probably-
question.
Yeah, and I guess maybe so that's why this is a first read, maybe it shouldn't be out, it's the use of the cell phone, the smartwatch during the times that would be prohibited. Kids understanding they're not to be on them. It hasn't seemed to be an issue because all of our sites have gotten very strict about making sure the policies are being implemented, and I'm not hearing, about smartwatch?
I don't think the technology has really made it to kids as much as these.
Finding ways to, yes, they are.
Oh, they are?
Why can't you, with K through 8, that you can't wear a smartwatch?
You can have any
I don't know that would be.
It's a
I don't think
device,
that's
it's
reasonable.
it's a device.
I mean, I don't know, I think we're getting too strict with that. I mean, I understand to a certain extent, but I mean, to now dictate whether or not a kid can wear their smartwatch, I mean, I think that's.
But it's a phone.
But it's also.
Right, but the difference, I think, like, I'm with you, but also is that, I think the language would have to change, because, that is how I read it, was that cell phones or digital recording devices are not being permitted to be used, right? But there was one.
Placed out of sight.
Yeah, it's like out of sight,
That could come back and bite you
which
and it's a phone.
but in the case of a like smartwatch, right, it's like, I mean, if a student's like this during class, you're using it, right? And that's not permitted.
So I guess the question I would have is that, do you want this to be specific to cell phones? Do you want it to be that they're not in use? I think
I was
that's
just trying to make sure we were very, very clear
Yeah, and
about
that's what I'm
we
trying
mean by
to, what would
mobile
make it more
device.
clear is just is there the concern about cell phones, specifically cell phones? I expanded it to mobile communication devices. It really was devices that, and I don't know what devices can record or not record. So it was about recording. I think that's one of the issues that the site administrators have said has caused some issues of recording things. And I don't know if a smartwatch can record.
Yeah,
It can, okay.
But like your third paragraph on your draft, right, says in the middle of it, I think it's the second sentence in, mobile communication devices must be turned off and placed out of sight during the school day. And you define what the mobile devices are in the second paragraph, which is include but are not limited to cell phones, smartphones, smartwatches with or without text messaging, camera phones, earbuds, and other like devices. So that is a large umbrella, which could be grown, which is smart because it's like they're creating smart devices out there all over the place. But at the same time, that does seem rather, I don't know, the smartwatch thing is like, I don't know, that's a little troublesome. That's the only sticking point with me.
It's a smartwatch.
Yeah.
Perhaps there could be some verbiage that,
except in the case of wearable technology such as smartwatches, like so long as they're not in use, they could remain worn.
Right. Like, not that I would want to include like earbuds or something, like, I can't imagine how annoying it would be for a teacher to sit there and teach kids when they've got those stupid white earbuds in, like I would die.
But see, their earbuds can come off their watch.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying, I'm like, no, that's not okay.
That's a can of worms.
It is a can of worms because my hearing aids do the same thing earbuds do. And you can't prohibit hearing aids.
But you bring up another point too, in kind of, there's a little squish here, and that's the technical term for it, on page 2, right? Because now these are the exceptions, right? And the squish is, well, number 3, when a licensed physician or surgeon determines that the possession or use is necessary for the student's health and well-being. So that's an and, not an or. So that's, it's got to be both.
Right, because that's an education code. That's cited in an ed code that we have to allow kids to have devices under those conditions. And I think that there are some students who, for a variety of reasons, who might need to have a device, and so it's allowable with doctor's permission. But we also, even in those cases, we also have to help the kids understand how to use them properly. They're using them for their medical reasons. So I think I am hearing that I hear what the concern is. Let me take that language in if you have ideas about how you would like the language to be clearer, because I guess I understand it's squishy in terms of smartwatches. I think the intent was when drafting this to make it more.
These are the biggest problem, I believe. So,
yeah, and I believe so also, Shelley, I think districts are just going broader because of the new technology. I think that they're just trying to call it mobile communication devices because of the fact that it's getting so sophisticated. I mean, like I said, I don't have a smartwatch. Didn't know it could in a video record. I don't know. So there's going to be something new, but I do think, our starting point of just cell phones was a starting place, but we would have to keep coming back with the policy every time technology is added. So I think the intent was to try to, and I think it's actually working right now just with our old policy. I think the question would be let me come back with a second draft and language regarding what I'm hearing the concerns are. I think the other question is, are you comfortable with the fact that K-8 students, whatever devices you all agree on, would not have them out, but high school students could still, during their breaks and lunches, have their cell phones out?
Right, and so also with number 2, the exception when a teacher or administrator grants permission to the student to possess or use a mobile communication device subject to any reasonable limitation imposed by that teacher or administrator. So I understand that, because if you have a class and and the teacher's like, get out your cell phones, we're gonna try, then that would be unacceptable, right? The squishy part for number 3 for me is that if I get my doctor to write me a note saying, I need my cell phone, right? But it would be under that, my use of it therein is directly related to that medical reason. It doesn't mean, oh, my doctor said I have to have it. Right.
We would ask the physician to tell us under what conditions the student needs to use your cell phone.
Right.
So we go back very squishy when we need clarification.
Okay, but we don't put that in the policy. We don't put that to use the cell phone as medically necessary.
Well, and let me go back to the ed code, Kirsten, because I'd have to look, but this was, I believe was lifted, this was in our current policy and lifted directly from ed code, but let me see if it clearly defines as defined by.
Okay. Well, ed code, that clears everything up. No, I'm just kidding, sorry. I love ed code so much. The other question, and I know this was also, because I read both policies, the draft and the previous one. Just curious why it's verboten for cell phones or prohibited cell phones and digital recording devices not permitted to use during class with guest or substitute teachers, regardless of grade, but anything, like high school, whatever. If there's a guest substitute teacher,
Without your knowledge.
Oh, okay. So regardless, and I think the other highlight that I made on the draft was when a student uses a mobile communication device in an unauthorized manner, the student may be disciplined, a district employee may confiscate the device, and or the student may not be allowed to possess a mobile communication device while at school. So there's a lot of mays in there, and I understand it's better to give site administrators the flexibility, whether to lay down the law or show some grace, depending on the situation. Like, I understand that. I guess my question goes more towards the previous policy where it was first offense, student may pick up their cell phone, it was more delineated, right? May pick up their cell phone or digital recording device in the school office at the end of the school day. So that's first offense. Second offense, parent must pick up the cell phone, digital recording device. And future offenses, parents pick it up. And I was just imagining these poor office administrators who are keeping track of, now, is this your first event? I'm sure, I know they're so smart. They probably just get it like this. But I guess my question is why wouldn't we just make it, you get caught inappropriate use of your cell phone, your parent comes to claim it at the office and signs the release and all of that, every time. This is
kind of in the weeds.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were looking forth on exactly this topic about progressive discipline, not getting into it being so locked in. So, for a student like Jasmine, if I say put your cell phone away, she puts her cell phone away. So rather than sending her up to the front office to turn her phone in for a parent to pick up. So they wanted the ability to give students an opportunity of a warning. And then it happens again in Shelley's class. Shelley then can send the student up to the front office. It'll be taken away. And so they were looking at it as a progressive discipline, but they didn't want to get locked into it being in policy, because once it's in policy, everyone has to follow that. Yeah. So they wanted a little bit of flexibility.
I understand that. I guess the only, then this would just be a personnel issue, right? Is this, if there are site administrators that try to be the cool kid in school and they're like, yeah, it's fine with me, and don't, right? Then that would be a personnel issue.
Yes, and that is one of the things that we've talked about, and we've talked with the administrators who are talking with their staff, is this is going to work, and we are saying we don't want cell phones to be a distraction any longer. Everyone has to enforce it, and it can't be, just don't tell anyone you can have them out right now.
Right.
Because that's when it starts to become a problem. What's nice right now is the adults in the building are having conversations about, hey, if we're going to do this, we all have to be in. Your kids are telling me you're not doing this. So they're talking to each other and understand why this is important, because it is. I don't think there's any school, any district that are saying cell phones have not become an issue. So I think that everyone is working together. But again, I think they were trying to have some flexibility. But you're right. If there is a problem, it does now become a personnel matter versus a cell phone issue.
Well, I have heard too that the YC staff is really working hard at it. Not even the staff, they're not having their phones out.
Well done.
Yeah. So, I'm sure RV's doing the same thing, but I know YC is.
Yeah, I have not been, unless there was I can see the reason why there was. When I'm doing walkthroughs, I'm not seeing them out when I walk in. I'm not surprising people. Kids understand. They're just, hey, put your cell phone away if they're out. The kids are respectful. I have not had a parent complaint. I do want to be clear, because I know this came up, was if there is an emergency on campus, we are not implementing our cell phone policy.
Oh, golly.
I have to go out and say that, because parents were worried, is that if they had something going on the campus and they were locked down, they want to be able to reach their kids. Law enforcement will tell you that's not always a good idea, but I'm saying is during an emergency, we are not going to be patrolling our cell phones.
And we're also not going to be checking the dress code during that time.
Right. I just wanted to be clear. So I will bring that back with some modifications to the language for a second read.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, D, state for funding application.
Every year to receive funding from the state, our Child Development Center requests a resolution authorizing the continued funding application for next school year 25-26. So it's requested that the board authorize us to sign the CSPP contractor documentation for fiscal year 25-26.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by member Roxanne, second by member
Seal.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I say something real quick about that? I just want to shout out to our preschool. I talked to a couple of different people. They find out I'm a school board and they say, do you have anything to do with preschool? Well, just very little, but I never hear anything but high praise for our preschool program. And it's amazing. And the fact that we have it and that they just do amazing work with kids. So especially now that we have TK, preschool is even more important that they have some kind of sense of what school is before they get to there. So I'm just really thrilled with preschool. Sorry.
Are there any board reports? No committees have met. Okay, communication from the public? None. Employee reps.
Okay. Good evening, board, staff, members of the public, if anybody's out there. I'm Mercedes Geraldo and I'm representing our classified inputs. We started negotiations. We had a meeting where we kind of set norms. And we had our actually first bargaining session, which was great. We passed some papers back and forth. Still working on that language because nothing ever happens at one shot, right? So we're working. We have another day coming up beginning of November. We're also starting our task force for job description reviews. So we have some that we've already identified from the past that need to be reviewed first, but we're hoping to get through all of our job descriptions when this progress is over or project is over. It's going to take a long time. So we're going to be talking about this for a couple of years probably. So just be prepared. Now I'm going to talk about good things. Scott, I just need you to close your ears for just a minute, okay? Because, we're going to talk money and, we already know how you like that. But, this time of year, I get up here and I start talking to you about the Para-Educator Conference. Now, I think it was $13,000 for a PD for ELD. Was that correct? Something like that in the board's agenda. Okay. So that would send approximately 9 paras to our Para-Educator Conference in Ontario. They do have to be CSA members. The good thing is that most of our people are CSA members, so we don't really have that problem. But our paras are out there doing amazing work in classrooms, and they go into classrooms blind. They go into this job blind, many of them, have no idea what it entails, and we don't have a training program for them necessarily. It's the nature of the beast. It's feast or famine. Sometimes they're set up to fail and sometimes they're set up for success. It just depends on where they landed. And that is by, nobody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast. But sending people to the Para-Educator Conference can help level that playing field. So I'm going to give you some ideas of some of the classes that are being offered. And we offer at the CSE Para-Educator Conference. You don't have to be a para, you do have to be a classified employee, you do have to be a member, but there's something for everyone. So even bus drivers or office folks, health aides, campus supervisors all can get something out of this. We have classes both on self-help because it's so important to take care of ourselves and make sure that we are mentally and physically prepared to go into these classrooms, but also on ideas on how to help in the classroom. So some ideas, visioning, bringing dreams and ideas into reality for yourself and your students. Using play-based teaching strategies to promote learning. It's just some of the good ones. 5 bucket principles, that's how to balance all your work and life and school and kids and everything else. So that's one of those self-help. Kaiser has some great self-help, and I recommend that the district actually look at that to bring to our employees because some of the Kaiser, it's the educational theater, they're amazing. Staying positive in a negative world, emotional intelligence, inclusion classes, there's the Rise Up, never right where you want it to be. Putting inclusive practices into action. We are a fully inclusive district as far as our special education kids other than the SDCs. But how does that look? What does that really look like? And again, we're putting a parent in a classroom that might not really know what that looks like. So getting them into the training is important. So I do encourage the district to make that investment in our para-educators and send as many as possible to the para-educating conference. It's the beginning of March in Ontario for 3 days.
Thank you.
You gotta plug your ears, Scott. Thank you.
Tina?
Good evening, board members, members of the public, students, and staff. Dina Lukens, President of Yuba City Teachers Association. Tomorrow, we will engage in negotiations with the district. At our last session on September 17th, there was a little bit of misunderstanding with regards to what might get passed back and forth. The district appeared to have some expectation that YCTA would be passing a package proposal. We did not do so and did not do so in May and indicated in May that we would not do so. Instead, our interest is to reach common agreement on small pieces so that we can eventually have an overall agreement. In doing so, back in May, YCTA presented 5 separate proposals, well, actually 6, but 5 of the 6 we ultimately reached agreement on that day and signed to settle Article 9, recognition, Article 16, holidays, and Article 27, retirement. We also signed 2 separate agreements, one to establish a coaching position for flag football and esports, and another one to pay teachers for covering other teachers on leave. So we appreciate the fact that back in May, we made some significant progress towards resolving our full book. That means our entire CBA negotiations since our contract expired in June. Our interest is timely negotiations that allow us to reach agreement that satisfies both parties' interests. We did give one more other proposal that day for Article 14 leaves. Our leaves language, if you've ever tried to decipher it, is complicated. And there's all these drop-down menus, personal necessity. I got personal under personal necessity and doesn't even include all the other categories. It's just confusing. Our intent is to help simplify it. So that was the proposal we gave back in May. YCTA continues to work on proposals to address other open articles, including class size, assignment of teachers, hours, establishing more prep time for our elementary teachers. Our elementary teachers means grade working folks anywhere. They have 325 minutes of instructional time per day. That includes every subject. And they prep for all of that. They do get one 15-minute prep with a PE teacher. Some of them get a little bit of a reprieve with a elementary music teacher for 30 minutes once a week in grades 1, 2, and 3. Our hope is to extend additional prep time. Not only does that serve teachers trying to plan all of the subjects, it also increases students' opportunities for important classes like music in grades 4 and 5. They also give them access to visual arts. Those could both be paid for with Prop 28 funding. Clearly, the state of California and the voters of California recognize the importance of the music, the visual and performing arts in our schools in passing Prop 28, but there's other options, such as the 4th grade teacher I was talking to in the Bay Area this weekend, who talked about, this is near and dear to my heart, so wait for it, they have 2 hours a week of science, science at elementary school. Such a yay is well done science involves a lot of hands-on, a lot of lab activities. That's a lot of prep if you're going to teach it once. If you're going to teach it multiple times, then gathering all of those materials to do really good, high-quality science is more time effective. So just another option. That one wouldn't be paid for by Prop 28, but I'm sure there are people that think science education is important in the state of California. I believe that wraps up the things we'll talk about in negotiations tomorrow. I would like to address a few other items, first of which I'd like to address ASB's interest in Apple Pay. I really hope you can work towards considering that. Not only would it allow more students to pay, but I think it would protect the health and welfare of your employees. Last year, I chaperoned the homecoming dance at Yuba-Sutter High School, and we collected $20 from each student, and there were hundreds of students. And Esperanza and I are sitting there with stacks of bills like this. I'm like, I don't feel safe with this, but I'm glad this is your responsibility to take all that cash somewhere. So Apple Pay would protect your employees from having a lot of cash. So I would urge you to consider that option in our technological age, because I don't carry cash. Finally, I'd like to recognize the recent actions of the district to restore district funding, rearrange district funding to assure that after-school tutoring would continue at our school sites by our teachers for our students, to support our students here locally. We used to pay for this with COVID money. It went away. So with some creative work, funding's been rearranged, and that important option for students has been restored. So we appreciate that work. We continue to have concerns about the vacancies within the district. In fact, we go out there on a regular basis and say, hey, anybody want to be a school nurse, an SLP, a special education teacher, a third grade teacher, teach social science, teach English, teach art, teach math? Are you out there? Because we'd love to have you come apply here at Yuba-Sutter Unified. I do know from our perspective, I'll keep asking if we can find anybody in those areas, because our kids need a credentialed teacher. Finally, I'd like to also shout out to our mentor program with Michelle. It's amazing the number of PD passports they've put on this year. We're offering our own professional development here in Yuba-Sutter by our folks, most recently SWAN for math, GATE training, social science with Study Sync, Aries report cards for elementary. We're doing good stuff here, so I appreciate the work they've done. And then finally, YCTA has held multiple open houses at our office, including helping folks to navigate disability insurance. Sometimes comes as a surprise to folks that teachers do not have state disability. If we become disabled, we use up our sick leave. And then 100 days of differential pay, and then nothing. Scary prospect. So as members of CTA, our teachers are eligible for disability benefits that will protect their income. We met our target this year, so anybody, regardless of pre-existing condition, had the option to purchase at a very reasonable cost disability insurance. So we are pleased to have protected Yuba-Sutter employees in that manner. We also further protected them by offering a flu shot clinic and a wellness clinic. You know, they poke you to figure out whether you got high cholesterol or what your BMI is and your A1C, and get to help you encourage your wellness. So we did that open house. We also did an open house for about the CBT rep. That's our medical benefits provider, into our office to help folks navigate all the plans and the co-insurances and the deductibles. So we appreciate the opportunity to serve members of Yuba-Sutter Unified. Our next ones will be address STRS, understanding your retirement, and 403Bs, saving additional money for your retirement. And then finally, I would like to further add to RPD for teachers and other educators in the YCTA unit is excellent. We would like to encourage greater PD for our paraeducators who are in the room. We have recently asked the district to consider that paraeducators who are working in TK classrooms have education units. Working with TK kids is different than working with high school kids. Imagine that. So we'd like to help those folks by making sure they have ECE units. We also believe that it is important to offer local training for our paraeducators who are serving our students with IEPs. And finally, last, I'd like to do a shout out to National Board Certified teacher Katie Woolman. Katie Woolman teaches at Yuba-Sutter High School. She also has a master's in social science that allows her to teach dual enrollment classes for, with Yuba College in social science. And Katie is a National Board Certified teacher. And as such, the state of California has decided that that distinction is so important that she's eligible for $5,000 per year for 5 years. So also an accomplishment. I think it is important that we continue to celebrate those teachers who are national board certification. So with that, I close and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Comments from board members?
It was a good 4 years, guys. I'll see you on the flip side. Sorry I had to leave a month or so early just because looking for housing, moving on in a chapter of my life. And I'm not about voter fraud, so wouldn't want to stay too long. Look forward to continuing to serve Yuba City Unified School District in different capacities in the future.
Good luck.
Thank you for being here.
Definitely.
So also, as a token of appreciation, we have this plaque for you for your dedication in 4 years on the board. Yeah, so on behalf of YCSD, thank you for your service. Let's go. Why we're all in
Orange.
Thank you.
And Birkenstocks.
Oh, yeah, we're almost all in Birkenstocks.
Oh, that is shocking.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Okay, comments from superintendent?
Just as our student reps have mentioned, the Mayor's Cup is this Friday, October 11th at kickoff is at 7:30 at River Valley High School. October 14th is a student non-attendance day, so our certificated teachers and our students will not be in session. And then November 1st is our PD day. We planned it the first time after Halloween, so
No sugar.
no sugar, no kids. So, and that will be at Yuba City High School. The one thing we do need to talk about is on, because of the way the calendar falls and the date fell in December, the December meeting was scheduled for December 10th. Because it's a reorganization and a meeting in which new members are sworn in and those who are reelected, that has to happen after the second Friday in December, so December 13th. So the meeting to reorganize and swear in the board members has to happen the week of the 16th. So we'll need to cancel the 10th and move it into the week of the 16th. The 16th is a Monday, Tuesday is the 17th, 18th is Wednesday, 19th is Thursday. Anybody have?
I think it's the 17th.
Would you like us to move it a week into Tuesday the 17th?
Yes.
So we will move that meeting to December 17th, in which new members will be sworn in, governments will be sworn in, and the reorganization meeting will occur. Thank you.
Sweet. All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
A motion by member Roscoe, a second by member Ciastiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Next board meeting is October 22nd. Oh wait, I did that backwards. Sorry. Before I adjourned, but.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
In the morning light, the cameras start to roll. Yuba-Sutter.live, watch the stories unfold. Tune in on Tuesday, the news comes alive. Yuba-Water Agency, making sure we thrive. Yuba City Council, with Marysville in view. Yuba-Sutter.live, it's the truth that comes through. Tune in on Tuesday, the news comes alive. Yuba-Water Agency. community, making sure we thrive. Yuba City Council with Marysville in view. Yuba-Sutter done live. It's the truth that comes through. Yuba-Sutter done live. It's the truth that comes through.